Hey guys, Dakota here. I'm here with my dad today, and a lot of you guys have been requesting that I do some work with another hand so you can kind of see what I'm explaining a little better. So I do have a little series I want to start where I go over posting top roll, low hand top roll, high hook, low hook. Today we're just going to be doing posting top roll, so I'm going to dive into that. My dad also, we kind of discussed it beforehand, and he has a couple different points that he wants to bring up for this posting top roll. It's things that I didn't necessarily think of, but I think if you use them properly, you can still really incorporate it to kind of nail a posting top roll. So first I'll go over what I'm going to go over, and then we'll incorporate his stuff at the end. So for me personally, when I think posting top roll, I think of the post that we're doing, and posting motion to me is going in this direction. So when I think of a posting top roll, I want to be as high as I possibly can be. Obviously, they're not going to let me start like this. As you can see with this, I can't start like this. But when I incorporate myself and I'm gripping up with my opponent, I'm going to be kind of gripping and trying to get my fingers pointed towards the roof. I'm going to be grabbing. Obviously, I can't cover his thumb knuckle. And, you know, he's going to be fighting depending on what direction he's going. He might either be meeting me high or he might be trying to hook me. Depending on what you like to pull, you have to watch out for a few things. But again, I'm getting my grip and I'm trying to have my bottom knuckle almost pointed directly upwards. Now, some people may worry about, because this is pointed upwards, you're kind of leaving a bit here. If you feel uncomfortable that way, you can grab, get your cup set in, and then get that posting top roll. But because I know what direction I'm going, I'm going to do the direction once. I'm posted up high here, and I'm going in this direction. And because that's somewhat of the direction I'm going, I'm not really too worried about my cup here. I'm more worried about getting a rise and pronation so that I can attack the fingers and cause this rolling open motion that's happening right here. As I do that rolling motion, you can see that I sort of start cupping. But in reality, I don't need to get my cup in place until I'm kind of down here. So again, I'm getting my knuckles high. I'm not too worried about cup. I got my rise engaged and I got my pronation engaged. Now that's kind of hard to see from this angle. Dad, if you just want to adjust with me. But when I say I got my pronation engaged, I actually want to start so that my hand is in this direction and my pronator is activated. That may seem kind of weird at first, but what that does is it actually just makes it so you don't have to pronate during the match. You just lock your pronation into place. Think of when you're lifting, you're doing a pronation lift. If you're starting from here and you're going like this, you can only do so much weight. But if you set that pronation in place and then you pull straight backwards, you'll be able to lift much more weight. So that's a nice step to get while you're doing your posting top roll. So again, not too worried about cup. I'm getting my rise locked in. I'm getting as high as I can with my knuckles. My pronation is locked in. And sometimes it can be as simple to lock your pronation in as to just kind of rotate your body a little bit. Obviously, our feet is in our normal feet stance. I'm grabbing the peg with my arm up. And then on that ready go, I could maybe be giving, if they're trying to hook me and they're giving me a lot of side and I'm uncomfortable, I don't have to meet the load. If I feel like I kind of want to meet them side pressure wise, you can kind of make them uncomfortable, maybe push a little bit this way. And then right off that go, you push in an upwards motion. You can see how his hand is falling as I go up. This may very well slip. It's the exact same thing in the straps, but I push upwards and I'm coming back and I'm getting over top of him. Now, with my elbow on that, it's kind of an interesting motion for me personally, because when I post, the first thing I'm doing on the hit is I'm giving myself a little bit of space just to kind of pivot and to push upwards. And then once I get in that upwards, I'm actually moving, pronating, and bringing my elbow backwards. So it's kind of like a snap forward and then bringing it all backwards. Now, that's my definition of a posting top roll. I think it's very simple. If you were to watch this grip up, I get set up and then it's ready, go. I'm up and I'm kind of coming over. You can see here we're almost going to slip. So I think for your pointer, we'll go into the straps and talk about it. But while we're putting the strap on, what do you kind of do a little differently when you do your posting top roll, Dad?
Well, I like to let them think I'm going to do something different before I start. And then when I get into it, then I post forward and then I do my top roll. Because they might be thinking I was going to high hook or...
So you, for those that don't know, you have a very fast hit, and
Yeah.
you like to set up the same way every time. So that's a place where my dad and I do differ. Is I'm okay with kind of showing my cards a little bit to go in the direction I want to go in, but my dad likes to be very deceptive with his speed. So for my dad, when he's gripping up with me, so grip up.
I will actually grip a little bit lower, and I will set myself further back on the pad. And when they say go, it's an up post to the front of the pad, and then over to the corner. So I'm kind of doing a U shape with my elbow. So it's up for the post and then over.
So from a perspective of similarities there, we do kind of do the same thing. I don't start as far back and grab low, so I start already height dominant, and then I go a little bit forward to pivot myself, whereas my dad starts a little bit lower all in general, and then he uses his power and kind of like almost, you'd say like a punching motion.
Speed, you bet.
Yeah.
I drive up.
Yeah.
And then over.
And he is deceptive from the sense of the person doesn't know what he's going to do, whereas maybe my setup I was talking about, okay, you can feel this guy's giving me posting pressure. I think there's a time and place for both moves, but I think that these are good different variations of the move, and I think certain times you can incorporate both of these. I think my dad's, for example, if you're pulling someone who's very technical and you don't want to show your cards, you may want to grip up the exact same way that you do every time. You don't necessarily have to grab low like he does. That's his preference. But you can still grab high and threaten a high hook, but then turn that into a posting Toproll with the elbow coming forward and then coming back in that U shape like he said. Whereas mine, if you are preparing for an opponent or you're in a tournament and I think you know posting Toproll is the answer and it doesn't really matter what they do to counter it, I do think mine comes into play because you're already, so the way I think of mine is it kind of is a step less than yours. Mm-hmm. He's low, he asserts this posting, whereas mine, you're already starting in this position.
You bet.
And then we both do the same thing. But very similar. And that's kind of a beginner-ish sense of a posting Toproll. We do get into some good technicalities there, but we can go into a lot more eventually. But to kind of show it one more time, if we were hand fighting and whatever, if we're both going for posting Toproll, we're both kind of fighting that post, we're fighting rise like this, and then you can see our elbows are very close to the front of the pad, and then on that go, whoever would win would be whoever gets more height, and then you pull backwards and do that. And so the post is just kind of asserting what you need, and then once you get what you need, you drag back and overwards. And notice how I get to about here before the cup comes into play. Pronation and rise are super important there, but cup doesn't really come in until the last step.
Lat drag too, you're using your
Yeah, of course. When I incorporate myself, I get my post, I'm locking everything into place. Like Matt Mask will say in a video, you have a tennis ball here, you have a tennis ball here. Now that I'm locked in and I feel in a comfortable position, everything comes backwards with me. Now that I'm here, I have an L-shaped movement I'm kind of making, and I also come along with the roll. Very, very textbook posting Toproll in my opinion. Everyone has a variation to that, and everyone will do things differently. But when I think posting Toproll, that's what I think. You agree?
Perfect.
But find what works for you guys. Again, this is our textbook definition. Get to a table, arm wrestle someone, work with it, and as you go, you will develop. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos, and we'll see you in the next one.